We did it! Another week under our belts. Friday morning.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, I can't see mine.
I thought that was all stomach.
I haven't worn a belt for years. I haven't taken it off either, but you know.
I like the idea of this not being a belly. It's just another week under my belt.
Yes. Thank you to Casey Security for sponsoring the show. You know what?
What happened?
Kim Kardashian. You know how she's my best friend.
I know. You talk to her all the time.
So watch them.
What's she doing, KK?
Not.
What's KK up to?
Well, apparently she did a magazine cover for 7 Hollywood magazine.
Okay. Never even heard
people are, I hadn't either. People are flipping out.
Well, no. What?
Blackface. They're calling it black. Yeah. You know how everybody self-tans in Hollywood?
Yes.
Yeah, you know that. Well, she kind of overdid the self-tan, but she's not blackface. I mean, good night.
So it's just a shade of makeup that people are interpreting as too dark?
Too dark. She's
or spray tan or whatever
she
base
looks
she used.
very tanned is what she looks like, but it's not like her face is a different color from her body. On the photo, she's lying on a bed and she's channeling Elizabeth Taylor.
I glimpsed at that photo. Nothing occurred to me about the color,
I thought,
the tone of
man,
her skin.
she's really tanned. That's what I thought. But I didn't think, oh, blackface. To me, blackface is like separate from your body, no? Although
just changing
Trudeau did his hands and his knees and everything.
I mean,
so what do I know?
I think blackface is just sort of a term for when you darken your skin. But I mean,
she's Armenian, so like she's already dark, but not that dark. But yeah, you know what?
Well, you know what's... Okay, Lene Fragamini came walking in here just now, and I said to her, have you been somewhere? Have you been on vacation? Because she looked...
She's so gorgeous.
She's got a beautiful... Well, she's Fragamini. Well, I don't know. She originally... I don't even know what Lene's real maiden name was. I'll have to ask her. Because Fragamini's her married name. So, but I'm sure she's Italian.
Wasn't it Bambaco?
She was! Of course she's a Bambaco.
Look at me, I knew that.
I should have known that. I'm her friend. How do you know? Anyway...
I'm her friend, too.
But she has a dark skin tone.
Yes. Beautiful.
And she goes, when she tans in the summertime,
I can, and I'm so jealous. I splotch and then peel and then I'm white again.
But if you were to put on like a foundation to look tan, people might accuse you of trying to darken your skin too much, and that's all that's happened here. As far as I don't
you know what? Try and find the picture and let you know.
She's wearing it's like her hair is black. She's lying down and she's got like the dress has like claw things on her breasts, and it's very. The reason I noticed that picture, Luann, is because I saw a little thing on Twitter saying Kim Kardashian channels Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes.
And I looked at that picture, I thought, there's nothing Elizabeth Taylor about this photo.
Her hair. The hair design is, do you know when Liz had her hair shorter and puffy?
I didn't even think
That's about it, really.
I didn't think that. But anyway, I didn't notice.
I mean, Liz was a cleavage
but never like this.
But not like...
Liz never exposed both sides of her.
Like her nipple was
There
covered.
we go.
There.
Does she look like she's wearing blackface to you or dark skin?
She looks like she overdid the spray tan. That's what she looks like.
Also, the lighting. Maybe it's the lighting. Look at how she looks in the one.
Right?
Anyway,
I don't know.
Neither do I.
I don't think it's.
Sometimes we just get.
Poor Kim, leave her alone.
Please leave Kim Kardashian
alone. She's got so much to worry about. Kanye.
On this date in 1820, Missouri imposed a $1 bachelor tax on unmarried men between the ages of 21 and 50.
Just a buck?
Yeah, a buck in 1820, Luann.
Okay, good point.
And you know what? I have to say this. It was 1820 and you got charged $1 if you were unmarried. You guys have been picking on us gay guys for 200 years.
Buddy.
It wasn't legal to get married to a guy back then, and then if you didn't choose to get married to a woman, you got paid $1 tax, gay tax.
You would be so broke. You would be in the poorhouse. If there were a gay
tax, I would have declared bankruptcy.
Yeah, you would have had to.
Never mind.
You can't even help your own self.
Confirmed bachelor. Those what they called. Remember that? That's what they used to call them. Rock Hudson was a confirmed bachelor. Yeah. Anyhow. Talking about the value of the dollar in those days, do you know this was also the date of the Louisiana Purchase? This is when Louisiana was purchased from the French.
Really?
Yeah, the French owned Louisiana. That's why the French Quarter.
French Quarter and the whole Camassava there.
Yeah, so Louisiana Purchase. On this date in 1803, they bought Louisiana from France for $27 million.
Whoa!
You know what that would be in today's money? $600 million. Could you imagine buying a whole,
state?
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird to put
That's a lot of money, though, back then.
1803, $27 million.
$27 million? I hope they're happy.
Who, Louisiana or the French?
The French.
I'm sure the French are very happy that they no longer have to have territory on a country where Donald Trump is in charge.
I bet
Macron got off easy back.
Yeah, Macron was awesome.
27 million.
Hey, one of your favorites. You know how I love the royals. I'm always on top of the news of the royals. Yes. Prince Charles and Camilla.
Yes.
Thank you. Released their official Christmas card, and it's not what you would expect. It's kind of cute. They're in a car, like an old-fashioned car, open vehicle. He's driving and she's sitting there. And it's very unusual. They're
happy.
They were in a car in Havana, Cuba, and somebody took the picture, and that's what they decided they were going to use.
I wonder if I'll see them there.
Maybe.
There they are.
Look how cute.
Can I just tell you?
Right?
Come on. He's happy with her.
He is. Well, he once said that he wanted to be her tampon.
What did he call her? He had a nickname for her.
Did he?
Squidgy?
I don't know if I would.
Diana called somebody else Squidgy?
I don't know how I would take that if somebody
All I know is
I want to be your tampon.
I'm glad that Princess Diana and Prince Charles had those two lovely sons.
Me too.
But they should never.
No, they shouldn't.
That was not a.
And more royal news. I know. Prince Charles or Prince Andrew is planning still to walk his daughter down the aisle. Well, he's the one who's in trouble with Epstein. Yeah, he's the one that basically has been disowned or demoted, maybe is a better word. He's not allowed to do anything in public anymore.
That was the one where the other day. That was the one where that morning show when you looked at me and oh yeah, Lizzie's pissed, and I just thought that was the fun.
I kind of said I don't think I should have said that on television.
Well, I just reminded everybody that you did say that.
Yeah. So apparently she postponed her actual wedding shower because it was hitting right at the time when all of this was happening. But now she's had her shower.
That wasn't Beatrice. What's that one?
Yeah, that's Beatrice.
That's Beatrice.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they haven't actually set a date, but he has confirmed, as she has, he will walk her down the aisle. Apparently, he just dotes on his daughters.
You know the whole thing about titles like Prince and Baron. Oh, can I say that? All those kinds of titles. Here's a title I'd like to have. This guy, he was the Sultan in the Ottoman Empire. You know what that is? The Ottoman Empire was basically Turkey, but back
is that where they made the stools?
That's correct. He was the Sultan of Stools. You've heard of the Sultan of Swing? This guy was the Sultan of Stools. Awesome. Oh, that doesn't sound good.
No.
Sultan of, that's why they said the Sultan of Footstools. That sounds way less.
That's better,
yeah. Anyway, it was a state and caliphate at that time, the Ottoman Empire. Okay, this is like 1520, the 1500s. He took, his name, are you ready for this? The reason this is in history was because today was the day they took over, they kicked the last of who'd they kick out? They controlled Southeast Europe, Western Asia, and North Africa between the 14th and early 20th century, and on this date they got rid of the surviving Knights of Rhodes. The Knights of Rhodes, and they ended up in Malta.
So he.
And now they're the Knights of Malta. Yeah, he fought, squished them all away. Squished
them all away.
Anyway, his name is Sultan, and this is why. And he was born on my birthday. He was born November the 6th, 1494.
He could have been your brother.
He was Suleiman the Magnificent.
He was what?
Suleiman, whatever.
Suleiman.
The Magnificent.
Wow.
That was his title as the Sultan.
the Magnificent.
I could
see why you would want to be that.
Who wants to be a prince or a baron? I want to be a magnificent.
Too bad you aren't. What's coming up on the show today?
A magnificent interview with my friend Lene Fragamini because the memorial tree lighting is tomorrow. Very cool tradition. Didn't know a lot about it. We're going to find out about from Lene, who's also part of Arthur Funeral Home, Barton and Kiteley Chapel.
Yes.
And then I have a wonderful interview with Melissa Karjanakis.
Oh, good.
Yeah, wait till you hear. Local entrepreneur, wild story.
Crazy.
And developed a thing called SkritSwap, which I'll tell you about on the next break. So anyway, it's a great show. Plus, Fur and Feathers Friday. And this one over here, she got the news. So we'll see you in just a minute with Lene.
Year we've been celebrating our 65th anniversary, dating back to services originating in our community in 1954, which is quite some time ago. It's been a great opportunity this past year to recognize the pioneers, the stakeholders that worked tirelessly to create what we are today. I'm grateful for everything that the families 65 years ago and the people that assembled the organization have done in order for us to achieve the success that we're experiencing 65 years later.
In your home, lighting is just as important as style.
With PowerView Motorization from Hunter Douglas, you can schedule your shades to light up the room, create privacy, or both, automatically. No hands required.
So your shades will always be in the right place at the right time in style. And it's only from Hunter Douglas.
Here she is, my friend Lene.
Hi. Good morning.
Thanks
How
for
are you?
being here. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Gearing up for the holidays?
Absolutely.
It's a big time of the year for you, isn't it? You're a real Christmas kind of girl.
Absolutely. I love Christmas. That kickoff with Festival of Trees gets me
Oh, that's
all
right.
riled up. Yes.
So now, speaking of trees and Christmas, the reason you're here today is because tomorrow there's is the lighting of the memorial tree? Is it a lighting, or is it just we go when we pay tribute? What?
It's a lighting of the tree.
It is a lighting.
Yeah, so we'll do a little service at 7 p.m.
Okay, so I knew nothing about this. So tell me about the memorial tree, how it started, where it's located, and about this tradition, if you don't mind.
So the memorial tree was started over 20 years ago, and there was a bereavement group in Sault Ste. Marie that sort of got the ball rolling, and the funeral home got involved. And we light the tree every year on December 21st, being the longest, darkest day of the year with winter solstice.
Oh, you're right.
At 7 p.m. So it's when, you know, the shortest amount of light.
Always December 21st?
Absolutely, 7 o'clock.
That's beautiful.
In front of City Hall is where the tree was planted.
It was planted 20
plus years ago.
Wow.
yes, for this
didn't
purpose.
know any of this stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
So then, being with the winter solstice, longest, darkest day of the year, and it just sort of brings a little light, because the next day it's going to be a little lighter, a few more minutes, and keep, as you roll through.
That's nice.
Absolutely.
Can we mention the names of the families? Do you remember?
Absolutely. It's Shelley and Sheldon Rathwell.
The Rathwells.
And Doug and Denise Radford.
The Rathwells and the Radfords.
Absolutely.
And their bereavement group.
Absolutely. And they had a group that was formed together, and they got together and put this tree in order.
Can I ask you, because you may not have an answer to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you know, is there a thing like bereavement groups in Sault Ste. Marie that people can join and attend? Or?
There are a variety of different options for families who are grieving. There's a group that gets together if you lost a child, and a few, smaller groups around town, and there's a group through Arch that they get together, and
That's right, Arch does, and Arch they actually do like seminars and stuff on bereavement,
Absolutely.
don't they, up at Arch? And those are all free.
Absolutely.
You just have to call and I was telling you before we came to air that on Wednesday this week, for Wellness Wednesday, I had some friends from Canadian Mental Health Association,
right,
and they were giving some tips about grief over the holidays, because even if you haven't just lost somebody this year, even if this isn't your first holiday without somebody, there's no end to. Nobody says you only grieve for this long.
That's right.
And it manifests itself in different ways. So just being mindful of the different ways that people can handle grief over the holidays. And they gave us a few examples. I'm just going to review them with you. So one is start a new tradition. And it actually says, place a lighted candle on the dinner table, or go to a tree lighting ceremony. Make that part of your tradition to remember that person and honor that person. Say a few words of remembrance. So even silently, right?
Absolutely.
Tell me about the first time. You know, it was what, 7 years ago you said you went?
It was 9 years ago, the first time that I went to the tree lighting. And I worked 30 years in retail in the Christmas department. So it's busy, it's a hustle and bustle, and you're just used to that pace. And you just go right through the holidays. So that was the moment for me. It was really defining to just stop and slow down and remember what it was all about. I went to the ceremony. It's only about 15 or 20 minutes, but it was just lovely. A few words spoken, a couple little songs were sung through it, but it was just that slow down and remember what it's all about. I'm so glad you
just mentioned songs, because that's a beautiful segue. There will be music at the ceremony, and you brought two beautiful things together. Tell.
Absolutely. So the Sioux Sings for Kids teams are actively getting started for this year, and we contacted Team ONNtv, which is with the school board, to come and
Algoma District School Board? ONNtv, I think so.
Yes, and so they're going to come and sing some carols at our service this year too.
For those of you who don't know, that Lene has been in the past a driving force behind Sioux. You were on the board. You were one of the organizers for Sioux Sings for Kids,
Absolutely.
Which has now raised upwards of $120,000 over the last 6 or 7 years.
It's incredible. I want to say year 7.
I think we're going to year 7. And now's the time to get your tickets. The press release came out. The tickets for Sioux Sings for Kids are on sale. You don't want to miss it. It's a great event, fundraiser.
Great stocking stuffer.
Good idea. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be music, the tree lighting, some speeches. It's just a beautiful moment to pay tribute. The other thing that they say is, another tip from CMHA was change the celebration. Go out for dinner instead of planning a big elaborate meal at home, or even schedule a trip. Sometimes you need that time to get away and maybe take some time to get over the grief.
Absolutely.
Just separate yourself from it for the holidays if it's too much. Express your needs. Don't be afraid to tell people how you're feeling, saying, I'm not up to it this year.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, don't feel compelled
to
do something you don't want to do. I mean,
absolutely.
And then also give yourself time, which we talked about. There's no time limit on grief, right?
Absolutely. It's different for everybody. Some people go immediately into business mode when they've had a loss, and they just need that time to slow down and go through the process. And it can...
a lot of it just self-care.
Yeah.
Listen to yourself.
Absolutely.
Take care of yourself. The other thing is, you're not just taking care of yourself with this memorial service, you're taking care of other members of the community. Explain how this is going to benefit St. Vincent's Place.
So the participation in the event is by donation, and so families will come in and just fill in the forms and leave a check with us made out to St. Vincent Place this year.
Okay.
And all memorial donations from the event are donated to St. Vincent Place, which is wonderful. A great time to support men over 18 that need assistance over the holidays.
That aren't as fortunate as we are.
Absolutely.
So, all in all, when you really sit down and think about it, you go to this event and it's beautiful, it's peaceful, it's a memorial, but you're also benefiting people who are still with us, who are in need, in memory of those that we've lost as well.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And we have people coming back year over year to just take that moment and reflect, and so it's really nice to see. So
tell me again, this is at City Hall, and it's tomorrow, being Saturday the 21st, December 21st, winter solstice. What time?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. And it's just, as you say, just a brief time to get together, and communities too. I guess you get to see people, and
yes, absolutely,
it's a nice moment as well.
People that are all going through the same thing.
Absolutely, or who've been through it for a number of years, and this is part of their how they deal with their loss. But before I let you go, there's a service that you provide that has always interested me, and because you gave me some information that I found shocking. This time of the year with people traveling, a lot of people going on holidays, maybe traveling overseas. If something terrible should happen when you're traveling and a death occurs, it can be devastating, not only personally but also financially. Lene, remind me of how much it costs if you're on vacation and you have to bring someone back if they've passed while on vacation. What can that?
It can be a variety of prices depending on where you are. But for example, it can be upwards of $23,500 from Italy, $30,000 from Jamaica. From Cuba, around $17,000. So it depends where you're traveling. The costs can be astronomical, but with the transportation relocation plan, having that in place, it's $495. You purchase it one time, you're covered for life. And we have it at the funeral home. For life, yeah.
If you're a traveler, it really is worth an investment. To have that stress off of your mind, to think if anything catastrophic should happen.
Absolutely.
That's one less thing to worry about, is that your loved one will be brought back, and it's not going to devastate. At that time, time. Who wants to worry about those kinds of finances?
That, not just the financial, but knowing that you make the phone call and it's all taken care of. Yes. And peace of mind that you're not trying to do the legwork and figure out how you're going to make that happen.
And that's available through the funeral home.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, not to bring you down at all. I mean, this is just, no, we're trying to be helpful and be realistic about stuff because it's a great policy and it's a good thing to do. What are your plans for the holidays?
Well, I'm getting ready for my daughter to come home for a few days.
Yes.
And we're working on a little wedding plans and big dinner. And yeah, so it'll be fun.
And dinner at
nice
Linnaeus?
family time. Absolutely.
Right on.
Everybody there, my grandson and my parents and Frank's parents. It'll be good.
Have a great time.
Thank you, you as well.
Happy holidays.
Enjoy yours.
We'll see you in the new year.
Absolutely.
Linnae Fragamini from Arthur Funeral Home and Barton Kitely Chapel.
Yes.
Did I say it right?
You too did.
I did. Good for me. Okay. We'll be back with Luann right after this. To get you in the Christmas spirit, don't forget It's a Wonderful Life is on stage right now. It's a Wonderful Life, the radio play. How much fun is that? You get to see them actually put on a radio production live on stage.
Like with the sound effects and everything they do?
At the Sault Community Theater Center. Tickets are available at the door. Showtime is 7:30 tonight. And interestingly enough, on 1946, on this date, It's a Wonderful Life, the movie starring Jimmy Stewart, Donna Reed, and Lionel Barrymore, premiered in New York City.
46?
1946 was the year the movie came out. So, and you can see it on stage tonight and tomorrow night at the Theater Center.
What a way to get into the Christmas spirit.
You know what else gets you in the Christmas spirit? Guess what today is? Go Caroling Day.
Oh, go and carol.
Unless you're Luann, don't carol. No.
He's heard me sing.
Yeah.
I hum.
You can sing in a group, I'll bet, Luann.
I don't know. I sing quietly whenever I do sing.
Did you ever go caroling?
Yes, when we were little.
I loved doing that. We used to get
I hated it. I did.
We used to. There were a few times I got in grade school. I did caroling, and then also with Comedy Guild, we used to have like a caroling party. We get together and then we go.
I was always so cold.
And then we do it for Christmas cheer, right? We would raise money for Christmas cheer.
Oh, that's
Christmas
nice.
Carol, and they put money, and then we donated to.
What a lovely thought.
The Sault Ste Christmas Cheer Fund.
Wow, that's a great idea.
So go caroling.
Go Caroling Day. Look how cute.
Yeah,
absolutely. Andy Cohen.
Yes.
Does the late show or something. Or Watch What Happens Live.
Yeah.
He has a 3-year-old daughter.
Yes.
Just a cute little button.
He's raising her as a single father, is he?
Yes. He was partnered with someone when they adopted, or when she was born. She wasn't adopted. It's from his sperm.
Surrogate.
Yeah.
Thanks for saying that over breakfast again.
Yeah, you know. He's thinking about having another baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so he loves his little daughter so much. He wants more. He wants more.
Yeah, he wants more. He wants more. So whoever was interviewing him said, "Oh, I have 2 embryos left. Do you have any left?" And Andy said, "Yeah, I think I have 1." So it's like a shopping list.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Isn't that hilarious?
He wouldn't have to pay that $1 bachelor tax, I guess, would he? Even though he wasn't married, at least he's got a kid. Because that's the whole point. That bachelor tax was the ones that
back
appropriate.
in the day, yeah. We've come so far from there, haven't we?
We have.
So yeah, so he says he would consider doing that, and he's on Tinder. If anybody's looking for a date, he said. I'm on Tinder.
I thought Andy Cohen was gay.
Yeah.
Well, Tinder's for straight people, isn't it? You can do Tinder for gays. I thought Grindr was for gays.
I don't know.
What's he doing on Tinder? Maybe he's looking for
a donor. Tinder.
I don't know. Why Tinder? I don't know. Why would you go on Tinder?
Why can't you be gay and go on Tinder?
You can? Oh, Audrey knows. She says you can. I didn't know that. I thought Tinder was just for heterosexuals.
You just go on Grindr because you like the sound of it. It's called Grindr.
Can I talk about modern technology? Since we're talking about dating apps and having children through surrogates and
grinding
chromosomes. Our next interview. See, here's what I did. I talked to Melissa Karjanakis. I interviewed her. She's in San Francisco now. she was born and raised in Sault Ste. Marie. Wait to hear the story, Luann.
She's amazing.
Her company, SkritSwap, is now worth $2 million. But so I got all caught up when I interviewed her, talking about her life and how it all happened and what's going on, and I forgot to talk about the actual product, SkritSwap, that she designed because she knows coding. You'll get it. But here's what SkritSwap is. Let me just tell you. So keep this in mind when you're watching the interview with Melissa. What she's done is she's developed a program that can take language at one level and the computer will adapt it to a different comprehension level. For instance, imagine being able to read your mortgage at a grade 5 or grade 6 reading level.
Wow.
Imagine being able to read a document that's written for like a medical journal or something,
right?
That's like a doctorate level, and be at a grade 12 reading comprehension level.
This is
what
so
she's developed.
brilliant.
Are you kidding me? She went from health sciences, and she was for her master's. You're writing journal articles,
right?
And there was a problem with translating what the doctors had written to what people could really understand.
Actually, yeah.
And she's thinking, there's got to be a way to do this. There's got to be a program. So she freaking designed it and then got all this funding. Wait to hear the story. So now she's still based in Sault Ste. Marie, but she's in San Francisco in the Silicon Valley. What an inspiration.
And she hasn't been like in business that long, right?
No. She said, I knew it was a good idea, and I knew I had, I knew I had potential. I just didn't know it was going to hit this fast.
Can you imagine taking a look at even a will, for instance?
Yes, exactly.
And having it translated into
imagine an employment agreement at a grade 8 reading level.
Right?
They can simplify all this jargon into plain language. It's SkritSwap.
The Google privacy thing, too. Imagine. You could actually understand that.
You can navigate through piles of paper. SkritSwap is about simplification, clarity, and plain language. SkritSwap. Check it out and watch the interview with Melissa Karjanakis coming up after the news, which is next.
It is. Stay tuned.
Recently, the Government of Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades including installation are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
teens who had pleaded guilty to assaulting and sexually assaulting 2 fellow students at an all-boys Catholic school in Toronto smiled, cried, and hugged their families yesterday after a judge sentenced them to 2 years of probation, sparing them jail time. Justice Brian Wiegand said the teens who pleaded guilty in October to sexual assault with a weapon and assault with a weapon, one also pleaded guilty to making child pornography for recording one of the sex assaults, felt remorse for their actions. The judge said the teens are intelligent and excellent candidates for rehabilitation, but warned them they must be strong members of society going forward.
This entire process was a teachable moment, and again, that was part of my submission, that all these youths have suffered greatly. Some of them have suffered assaults. Some of them have suffered multiple sleepless nights. Some of them have suffered very serious mental health issues as a result of these charges. I appreciate, again, everything the victims have gone through, but I don't think that the public appreciates what it means to be an accused person before the court.
Health Canada is proposing to ban advertising of vaping products in spaces where young people can see them in a bid to rein in the rise of underage e-cigarette use. Minister Patty Hadju put forward new rules yesterday that would prohibit vaping promotion in specialty shops, businesses, and online platforms frequented by youth. Hadju also announced requirements that vaping packages feature health warnings and be child resistant. She says the government also plans to place limits on nicotine content in vaping liquids to reduce the risk of poisoning if accidentally consumed by a child. According to the 2018-19 Canadian Student Tobacco, Alcohol and Drugs Survey, rates of e-cigarette use among high school students have doubled since 2017. Money will begin to flow next summer in Ontario through the first of an expected 13 funding agreements for a new rent supplement for low-income households as officials work on the fine details to make sure rents don't go up and the cash is used for housing costs. The $1.46 billion joint funding deal with Ontario, split 50-50 by the federal and provincial treasuries over 8 years, will help the province roll out the Canada Housing Benefit in the spring as part of an expansion of an existing provincial program. The benefit will be tied to a person rather than a social housing unit, meaning that a tenant won't lose the supplement if they move. That way, they can use it to help pay rent in a private unit rather than having to wait for a spot in social housing to open up. In Ontario, the money will go to families who are already on or eligible to join wait lists for social housing, as well as those already living in community housing in the hopes that they will move into the private market and open up subsidized units for families in desperate need. In the first year, the Ontario government expects spending on the benefit to be $40 million and provide an average of $6,900 or $575 a month to 52 households between April 2020 and March 2021. Federal spending plans peg the average subsidy at $3,000 a year, but Parliament's spending watchdog has warned the amount falls short of helping the most financially stretched households. A calculation involving income and average market rents will set limits on who qualifies. At last night's PBS NewsHour Politico debate, Democratic presidential candidates Senator Amy Klobuchar and Mayor Pete Buttigieg battled over experience and who can win.
And the point is, we should have someone heading up this ticket that has actually won and been able to show that they can gather the support that you talk about of moderate Republicans and independents, as well as a fired-up Democratic base. And not just done it once, I have done it 3 times. I think winning matters. I think a track record of getting things done matters. And I also think showing our party that we can actually bring people with us, have a wider tent, have a bigger coalition, and yes, longer coattails, that matters.
Thank you, Senator.
I got to respond to that. Senator, I know that if you just go by vote totals, maybe what goes on in my city seems small to you. If you want to talk about the capacity to win, try putting together a coalition to bring you back to office with 80% of the vote as a gay dude in Mike Pence's Indiana.
If you had won in Indiana, that would be one thing. You tried and you lost by 20 points.
But let's talk about how we win.
Rory Cairns scored 2 goals and set up 2 more, and Joe Carroll and Cole McKay also scored twice as the Sioux Greyhounds trounced the Barrie Colts 8-3.
As the holiday season approaches, we take this time to recognize the gifts and contributions of the community throughout the Algoma District towards citizenship, where all people are included, participating and enjoying time with their families, friends, and neighbors. On behalf of people we support, the volunteers and employees of Community Live in Algoma, we take this time to recognize all citizens of Sault Ste. Marie and the Algoma District and wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Joyeux Noël et bonne et heureuse année de Merrickville.
Joyeux Noël et bonne et heureuse année de Genève, Switzerland.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Joyeux Noël et bonne et heureuse année.
Welcome back to Mornings with Luann and Tim, and I am Skyping today. This is pretty exciting for me. I'm Skyping all the way to San Francisco with Melissa Karjanakis. Melissa, I knew you when you were a child. We knew each other, our family. I mean, I knew your family through musical theater. Your brother Joseph was in shows. You were a singer in Sault Ste. Marie, and then you went off to school. You went to university where? Tell me.
Western University in London, Ontario.
And what did you study there?
Health sciences.
Okay, and then you went on to do your master's?
Yes, I did a master's of health information science also at Western with now published research that was conducted in England.
Amazing. So now you're studying and you're doing your master's, and there's all kinds of jargon and lingo, and you're probably doing a ton of reading and journalists and stuff, and then you got an idea. Can you tell me a little bit about where this all started and how it became what is now known as SkritSwap?
In February 2013, I was sitting in a class for my master's and just looked at the journal article that we write as researchers that's full of jargon, very complicated, and that we spend, thousands of dollars, dozens of courses, and half a decade to figure out how to read it and understand it. And then we looked at the newspaper article about that very same journal article, and what it was saying was not lining up. But at the same time, how could you expect a journalist who maybe doesn't have medical training to understand how to read those journal articles and provide the right information and at a grade 5 reading level? So being someone who was an amateur coder, interested in technology, dabbling as much as I could for the last, at that time, like 7 years, I thought, hey, can't we just take advances in natural language processing and machine learning and build a technology that understands how to convert language from university to grade 8, from grade 12 to grade 6, and then it's easier for everyone to understand.
Okay, so just that alone, the fact that you were able to go from health sciences to then an ability as a coder and then thinking about taking language, it boggles the mind for me, but I guess for you, that's just the way your brain works. Good for you, which is why you're now a CEO of your own company in Silicon Valley. So then part of what you were doing too was you wanted to make a point about geography not being detrimental to somebody pursuing a career. Is that part of the whole process here as well? I mean, you came back to Sault Ste. Marie when you didn't need to.
Absolutely. I was living in Toronto. I had worked at the largest innovation center in Canada, where I further developed my skills on how to build a company. I also worked in the Ontario government to realize, yep, that was definitely not for me. And decided that I'm going to leave Toronto and come back to Sault Ste. Marie because that's where I'm going to build my business. I'm going to build my business in the Soo and show the world that you can have a globally competitive, multi-billion-dollar company born and bred in Northern Ontario.
And you did it.
Doing great.
So now,
not $1 billion yet.
No. Well, you're on your way. I mean, you're getting headlines all over the place and accolades. What were you doing in England?
Well, I won an award from the Queen of England in 2015, which gave me the confidence to legally incorporate the business and just say, yep, I'm doing it.
Confidence. One might think that you have always been a confident person, because to take this initiative, to have this kind of drive, I would think, well, you've got to really believe in yourself. Was there a time when you were not as confident as the CEO that you are now? Have you gained confidence throughout this process?
Absolutely. If you talk to any founder, they'll say it is a roller coaster constantly. So I definitely gained confidence working in Toronto. I gained confidence from the award from the Queen. And then since I've started my business, it is a roller coaster of emotions and confidence. There are definitely still times where I go, oh boy, I think as recent as October 2019, where I was like, what have I done? I've been on a lot. How am I going to chew this? Whew! And you know, a lot of the time it is that unwavering belief in yourself. I've written articles for this group called the Founders Network that helps founders all over the world, particularly in major hubs like the Bay Area, Toronto, and London, England. And one of the articles I wrote there said, at first, when you're just starting out and you don't really have proof points or evidence, you have to have a mere delusional belief in yourself, right to your core, that you can do this.
Either that or an incredible naivete, I suppose. One or the other.
A little bit of that. Oh, I always say my naivete helped me get started. Knowing what I know now, I don't know if I would have done it. Knowing what I know now, it's like.
But listen, you also got a major boost. Tell me about it was a fellowship program. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because that I find fascinating.
Yeah. So in downtown Toronto, there's the Mars Discovery District, which is all about innovation, the largest innovation center in Canada. And there was a special fellowship called the Studio Y Fellows Program, and we were the first class in 2014. And what they did was they said, okay, we're going to invest in young people and give them real opportunities to make change in the community. And I got a $25,000 stipend investment for the year. That came from taxpayers like you and like me. Mm-hmm. And that $25,000 investment in my growth enabled me to work at Mars, to start programs that actually were done in Sault Ste. Marie. So I started some after school programs for kids in the Soo, working with the school board and the university. I got training on product development. How do you build products? Training on design thinking. How do users think about and experience products? And all these things that make me very effective at my job now. And I've turned that $25,000 stipend investment in me into $2 million and 8 jobs.
8 jobs. Some of the jobs that have been involved, the people that you've worked with are also from Ontario. You mentioned a couple names, Sudbury, Stratford, Sault Ste. Marie. Can you share some of those names with us?
Yeah, I think the most notable is Chris Pagnuti, who is our star developer. We've only just recently got another one, but he's built the entire product from Sudbury. So it is a Northern Ontario built technology. And Chris has just been absolutely fantastic. And then we also work with my CTO, Darren Redfern, who's based out of Stratford. So geography is no issue. It's getting the best talent.
Now, speaking of from the money perspective, you're in San Francisco now because Silicon Valley, and you say there's quite a pool of resources, and a lot of it is financial. So is that obviously is one of the reasons why the company is also located in San Francisco?
That's right. You need to have a presence globally. So you can be headquartered in Northern Ontario like we are, and I come and switch out my suits and go back on the road to the next place.
Your clothes are still here in your mother's house?
In my mother's house, God bless her. So yeah, I'll change up my suits, but being in San Francisco part of the time as well and having that access, also two things. So of course it's the money. I do have investment from San Francisco. I have since my first ever money into the company, which is also very unusual to get a venture capital firm to invest at the angel round. I was very fortunate to have Adam Draper, the son of one of the most famous venture capitalists in the Bay Area, invest in my company. And then another round that was led by a US firm. And then I also brought some other Canadian capital in because I always try to keep it very balanced with some US and Canadian funds as well. And then the second thing that's really great about spending time in the Bay Area is you are with exceptional founders. Like the founders out here that I just hang out with, like play board games after meetings, they have raised $20 million, $50 million. They're personally worth tens of millions of dollars. Their companies are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And they're, casually just chit-chatting over coffee or board games. Oh yeah, this is what I did and this is how I did that. And you're learning and growing and becoming a much better leader and a much better founder.
That's so inspirational. One of the things that I think we talked before we came to camera, and you shared with me something that's a bit disappointing for you, I think, the investment part of it, and that you did have some money invested from Sudbury, but nothing locally, and you're hoping to make a change by making people realize, if you've got a young person who's got an idea and they need some support and it's financial, get behind them. Is that one of the messages you'd like to convey?
Absolutely, and especially locally. I didn't want to have to go to San Francisco as early as I did. It's definitely presented me with a different set of advantages, but at the same time, it was a challenge. I burned up any air miles I had to just be able to get here to get that money. But I believe that if you have, just like you said, local people who want to build companies locally that sure could have global impact, let's get local investment into those companies because it's wealth building. Because as my company grows and does better and better, right now, the first people who came into my company, the first people who cut me checks, their investment has already 18x.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So because of how much the company's grown in such a short time. So that's wealth building for the community as well when you invest in young people locally who can get you those kinds of returns.
Before we wrap up, I want to talk about giving back, Melissa. I was asking you again before we went to air about whether or not now that you're in this position, are you taking the opportunity to mentor other people? I would imagine, because being a woman in business, whether that's a certain area that you want to support other women in business, other female CEOs. Tell me a little bit about what your plans are to give back and what you're currently doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I touched on this in an interview that was in the Financial Post just recently with the top 100 most powerful women in Canada as well. And I believe that you should invest in bringing up people to at least where you're at as much as you can. And so I've often been cautioned by advisors, focus on your business, stay heads down, get things done. But not only does it help me to learn and grow when I'm sharing what I'm learning, but I believe that I have a responsibility to help other founders, particularly Canadian founders, and particularly Canadian female founders, to get the investment that is overflowing in San Francisco, bring it back into these Canadian companies to grow, create jobs, create wealth, and build globally competitive Canadian companies led by women and led by people of color. And I sit on the board for a company out of Edmonton, led by 2 founders of color, and I've helped many Canadian female founders as well figure out how to navigate getting money in the Bay Area, and that's particularly important to me.
I don't know. I mean, I'm so, it's kind of strange because you and I aren't like friends. I mean, we were acquaintances, but I am so proud of you. I'm so proud to know you. Your mother must be over the moon. And I know just as a city, I think you're such a great representative of Sault Ste. Marie being out there, and not just our city, just of young people in general, showing people that if you set your mind to something, you can do it. And it's a great message. And at this time of the year, I'm so happy that you're joining us. It's the Christmas season, and we're sharing these wonderful messages of hope and joy. And I just want to thank you for joining us, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me. And if you're out there in Sault Ste. Marie listening and you've got a big idea, just go for it.
Right on. Merry Christmas, Melissa.
Merry Christmas.
We'll hope next time you're in the Soo, I hope we run into each other.
Well, it's going to be in 2 weeks, so.
Oh, right on. Okay. I'll see you in the new year. And we'll see you right after this on Mornings with Luann and Tim. We'll be right back.
Cozy up this winter with Mio's Furniture Fashions. Add some warmth and comfort to your home with electric fireplaces, now 25% off. Save 20 to 35% off Lazy Boys. Sleep easy with a new Sealy Posturepedic, Stearns & Foster, or Tempur-Pedic mattress and adjustable bed. Plus, all bedding is 20 to 30% off. Shop these and other incredible deals this winter at Mio's Furniture Fashions. Service before and after the sale. 261 Trunk Road. Where else?
From everyone here at East Street Pizza Company, happy holidays.
That's okay. It's nice to be licked and attacked on a Friday. Laura Smith, ladies and gentlemen, from our friends at the Humane Society.
Hi.
Thank you for being here for Fur and Feathers Friday, as always.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Look at the babies.
These are little babies.
2 of 3?
2 of 3.
Same litter?
Yes.
How old?
They're almost 8 weeks old.
Are they ready to go in now or anytime soon?
We're just medicating them now. They got the little kitty cat cold. Being
is that a thing?
It is. It's really common in a shelter.
Shelter for kitty cats?
Yeah.
Is that the girl? Okay, this is kind of funny. When Laura arrived, I said, "Oh, girls or boys?" And she said, "I don't know." So just before we went to air, she turns the little guys around and she goes, "Whoop!" She lifts up the little tail. She goes, "Girl, boy," just like that. Look at how adorable, Laura.
Yeah. I'm getting licked.
Now, the third one you said was just not really in the mood to be here today.
No, he was being a little rambunctious.
Yeah.
He had gotten his little claw stuck in his blanket and then was being overly hyper. So we let him...
How'd you end up with these? Night deposit? Or what?
Night deposit box, yep.
Okay.
They were pretty young. We've had them for...
The cable.
We've had them for about 4 weeks. So they were about 4 or 5 weeks when we got them.
May I have one?
You can.
I'll take this one who's trying to eat your microphone. What did I get?
The girl.
Okay. All I know is it has a bum. That's a good start. Oh, hi, baby. Did you name them yet? You can't name them all.
Oh, no, it gets tough sometimes.
Tell the story about the little one, Rainbow, or whatever.
Yeah, it was Rainbow. Well, I called her Little Miss.
That one.
My Little Miss.
Remember the little kitty cat that Laura said she wanted to keep for
the shelter?
The shelter cat, and everybody said, no, too many. It was a little runt.
Yes, she was. We had got her at when she was like 3 weeks old.
And now?
She's got a new home. She got her forever home.
Fantastic. You still have a couple of the larger, older cats that are available in case someone's just feeling really, sometimes it's nice to adopt a pet just for the pet's sake and not for your own sake so much. You know what I mean?
And with Hobbs, you remember he was the big orange and white guy that we had here? He we found out he just loves company with other cats. So at night now, we actually let him out with 2 of our larger kittens, and he doesn't care. It's like company for him.
He's low maintenance then, eh?
He would fit in any house.
So bear that in mind too, folks, that, you know, sometimes you're just being a really good Samaritan by giving a home to a pet like Hobbs.
Giving them a second chance.
All he wants is a place to eat and sleep and hang out with some other cats,
exactly.
Right? And that's pretty cool. These little guys now, let's talk a little bit about if you are planning on giving a pet at Christmas time. I would think that's probably not always a great idea. Can you explain?
It's hard to introduce pets at Christmas time, I mean, because they don't understand, right, the chaos of the season. So, I mean, if you've got decorations and things that you don't want to introduce a pet and then go home and get upset with them, right? So it's sometimes best just to wait. We've had some families give cards with pictures of their new forever family member. Oh, yeah. And then after the holidays, come and pick it up at the shelter. We have gift cards.
That's a great idea.
Yep.
Wait until after the holidays to get adopt the pet, and then, hey, buddy. Oh, this is the girl. Hey, bud-ass. So now these cats will need what as far as shots and stuff, Laura?
They've had their first vaccines, so they'll need a couple more series of kittens vaccines, and then eventually they'll need their rabies shot, and they will need to be fixed.
They will need to be fixed. Yep. So but that you get the credit for having them fixed when you buy them, when you adopt them.
Yes, $60 of the adoption.
You don't say buy it, you say adopt.
Yeah. $60 of the adoption fee is to help offset the cost of the spay-neuter.
As always. Hey, do you have anything going on right now? Are you still doing fundraising? 12 days of Christmas, is it done?
It's over. We do have a couple of items left over that didn't sell, and they're just with prices now, so it's not a bid.
So you want to stop by and help out the Humane Society? Stop by with some wet cat food in cans.
Always.
Stop by with some blankets.
Blankets, towels.
And while you're there, take a look at the items left over from the auction and make a donation.
We are actually running low on cat toys right now.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
Okay, good to know.
Cat toys would be great.
The other thing is, think about this for a stocking stuffer. Stocking stuffer. Think about making a donation. You know how people say, in lieu of a gift, I'm making a donation in your name? Make a donation to the Humane Society. Can you do that online?
I think you have to call.
Okay, call. Go visit. You know
Call or visit.
It's a fun place to hang out anyway. Laura, I won't see you again till end of the New Year.
New Year, yeah.
Have a great holidays.
You too.
Give our best to everybody at the pound. At the At the Humane Society. Okay, we'll be back with Luann to say goodbye right after this. Meow. Oh, wait.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the Arturo's family to yours.
Such a cute couple
of kitties.
Yes, sister and brother.
There's a third one.
Yes,
Yeah.
a little rambunctious.
Another brother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So all three are available pretty much now. But don't you think it's a great idea? Instead of bringing a pet into the home at Christmas, just tell them that you got them a pet and then bring it home after.
Take a picture of the pet. Put it in like as a gift card.
Hey,
what a great idea!
Can I take a picture of you, my pet? Because I'm going to miss you until Monday.
I'm going to miss you too.
I'll see you then, though.
Yes, I'll see you then too.
And I'll see you then. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Casey Security.